This is our 2024 Work Trend Annual Report that is published by Microsoft and LinkedIn. There's some great data points in that I wanted to share with the audience, but also there's some data points that this is still Microsoft and LinkedIn findings, so of course they're going to promote their products. But just wanted to make that disclaimer. But keeping that aside, there's a lot of really cool findings about how are employees using AI, how is it helping. There's always a question about is AI going to replace us? So that they have some answers for that, and what is next, right? So that's really the big findings from it. So a lot of employees want AI at work. They don't want to wait to catch up or wait for a future date. Some of the employees who are scared of AI replacing them now find out that the more AI aptitude they have, it can break through some career ceiling, and they feel more comfortable about moving up the chain. We'll go through some of the opportunity areas we see there. But I wanted to understand, Baji, how many people do you think you would have guessed use AI, quote unquote AI? Because it could be as simple as using the Teams application where you say, hey, summarize this meeting invite, or I've missed this couple of a week, I've been on vacation. Can you summarize some of my emails, help me prioritize it? These are all considered generative AI tools that people use at work. So if you had to guess, what would it be a good guess for?
Right.
At least a demographic.
Yeah, you're definitely, the focus is on generative AI, right? Because there's so many other types.
Yeah.
But the generative, if I were to guess, I would still say employers are cautious, maybe less than 50%.
So let's look at the next slide to see how many people are actually using it, who's using it. So I think what was interesting is about 75% of people are already using it.
That's a surprise.
Which is a big number even for me, right?
Right.
And then a bunch of them started only 6 months ago. What I'm saying is it's catching like wildfire. A lot of people seeing value in it. We are overwhelmed with the meetings, with email. So it's a great tool to have, especially, there's also a lot of AI tools and apps that are looking for a problem to solve. They have a solution, but they don't know what problem they're solving. But these will consider as add-on to existing ecosystems like Slack or Teams that we use. Just you don't have to change your workflow; it's already there, and now it's enhanced. And that's what I think a lot of our initial audience are coming from.
It's funny you said that, because Slack so is it primarily the data is now skewed because every vendor who put a label AI on it is getting into this statistic saying whether it's AI or not, we don't know, but everybody has AI these days, right? It's a sticker that they have to put in there. Is 75% actual AI usage, or is it all the products that claim they use AI in the back end?
I think it has to be the product. It's not 70% not going to Chat GPT or another LLM and writing prompts to create this. These are just add-on tools that have been part of even LinkedIn has its own AI summary thing, right? So if anybody clicks any of that, it's considered you're using AI.
Just because you use Salesforce, really is it AI? Now that you use Salesforce, automatically everybody's included in the AI pool of people using it, right?
So we'll take this with a grain of salt that it's not accurate, but the good news is people are using some tools and some workflows where AI is augmenting the workflow. So I think that's the best takeaway. But I mean, significant number of people have access to this tool now, right? Like I will consider, but this is more interesting is how Gen Z to boomers. This numbers really surprised me. Gen Z was not a surprise. 85% of them are using tools, but the older generation, boomers, about 73. So it's only about 10-12% difference. But which means that if you make the tools easier to use, if you make the tools actually provide some value in your workflow, everybody's ready to incorporate that. I can see a lot of boomers, I'm assuming, are in the top leadership positions. So for them to be able to summarize meetings, because I'm pretty sure they're double, triple booked in some of these companies, being able to summarize, they can't be in every meeting, but they've been able to summarize and having a virtual assistant or even helping their own assistants getting these things and prioritizing. I see where the value add is for them, and it's very exciting to see that across the board, everybody's using it.
Well, definitely. I think, Rajni, when I look at this, it's a bring your own AI that basically says the employer is not providing anything. You're going and figuring it out yourself. I think it makes sense because a lot of people are getting curious.
So the next topic that is interesting to me from this report was the hidden talent shortage. There is a narrative in mainstream that there's not a lot of jobs available, but if you talk to the leaders in, let's say, in the startup space, what they are seeing is a lot of employees with not the right skill set. So they have, so there's two ends. I'm pretty sure in general the jobs have gone down and there's not a lot of opportunities. But if you kind of deep dive into certain pockets, there is a talent shortage, and that's what I'm hearing from the reporter and anecdotally from people I'm talking to. So they're looking for people with talent with some knowledge of AI tools to be able to, be hired onto these roles. For example, if I just look at the top three: cybersecurity, engineering, creative design, they are not finding people with the right talent and skill set as well as the AI tools knowledge to be able to hire. So, do you have any reaction to that, Balaji?
Oh, yeah, I think it totally makes sense, right? Cybersecurity was the first one to eat up all the data scientists and people who are in the AI, right? Because now we have to differentiate machines from humans, right? To prevent all these
Mhm.
cyber attacks and stuff like that. The one thought I had with the creative design is that this is, again, counterintuitive to how this goes. I think there's one that's floating around where because people are consuming everything that's AI generated, is our creativity level going to go down over time as humans, right? Do we become less creative over time? I think it makes sense that if you project that, maybe there's a shortage of people who are actually doing anything original, right? That's one side of the
Yeah,
equation, right? Because it just makes
yeah.
you lazy. It makes you more, I don't know how to put it, right? Because it just takes away some of the struggle you
Yeah,
have
you're
to
not
go through
getting reps, right?
in the creative process. You have to go through some struggle to create something new, right?
Yeah, just like every artist has had to go through some trouble to create the masterpieces. I agree. It's just like exercise. If you're not exercising your brain doing creative, then yeah, I'm assuming it's not going to be as creative. So it makes sense that there is a fine line. Let's see where we go with this in the next few years. I think
Yeah.
personally, my hypothesis, there will always be creative folks, but the lower end of wannabe creative folks will get replaced with AI, which will be much better than them. So I think there'll be tiers where the top tier, I don't know when AI or AGI will, another guy in India will be that creative. But the bottom line is,
Right.
in a few years from now, that's how I'm seeing like a tiering of the top talent, which are human based, will be there, but 60-70% can be now created using, machines. So I think robots, and I think that's where we headed.
I just end this with a little thought, right? We humans, we tend to overestimate short term and underestimate long term. So maybe a little bit of this should be taken with a grain of salt, right? Maybe it's a kind of overestimate. We'll see.
Yeah, this is an interesting one. This is information from LinkedIn, and how many people are adding AI aptitude skills to their profiles to make themselves more marketable. So it's on the flip side. At the other side, employees are looking for people with AI aptitude, and here you see who are the actual folks who are putting their, whether they're skilled or not, they're putting it on their resume or their LinkedIn profile to make themselves more marketable. And the most interesting part is the creative side, content, graphic marketing managers are the ones who really are adding this in a hurry. We just talked about it. It's interesting to, and then of course developers and entrepreneurs are coming up next. But these are the jobs that are AI tools are gunning for or replacing in a hurry, right? Or at least taking over most of them. So it's interesting to see these content creators that say, you know what, I'm not getting replaced. I'm going to use these tools and these skills to actually be a 10x content creator, a 10x graphic designer, or a marketing manager. Where I used to do 4 designs a day, now with these tools, I can create 200 designs a day. I can service more people. So I think that's where the industry is going, at least short term. It's just interesting to see how the data coincides with some of the hypotheses we have.
Yeah, 100%, Rajni. I think the thought I have is yes, these are aligning very well with what we have been seeing, right? The first job that basically everybody said the content writers are out of business, right? But then you can see as humans, we adapt. We kind of look at other tools. I think I do this in my coding as well, right?
Mhm.
Like if I don't have a skill, now I'm using AI to get that skill, right? Like I hate, full disclosure, I don't like HTML, CSS, right? But I can do all the backend stuff. Now I feel like I'm a superhuman because now I can go borrow the talent a little bit from the coding models or even ChatGPT, right? So I imagine maybe content writers now are discovering there's so many other things they can pull with AI in addition to what they are very good at, and now starting to double down, right? It's creating more what do you call AI aptitude development.
Correct. So if you design a logo, right? Let's say I have to design a logo, another version of the logo, and a completely different logo. You have to start from scratch. But now you can create one logo with your own skill, and you say, "Hey, give me a slight variations, 5 of this." So it becomes more personal. It could be a different color, it could be a different font. You can do that very quickly, and now the customer, instead of choosing from one logo, they like it or not, they're 5, and I'm pretty sure they enjoy that. Maybe this analysis paralysis could happen too, but having choices always makes the customer experience better. So I think that's where most of this work is going into. So
Very good point, Rajni. It gives everyone a different starting point. I think you noted that very well. Because you don't have to start where everybody started in the last 10 years. Right now, you're starting at a different starting point and getting to the finish line faster. On the second thing, right, I think in the graphics designer world, I want to add this because my kids, they draw, and I keep telling them, the first thing when they saw AI is like, I don't like AI because it's trying to do what I do, type of thing. Every artist went through this. But when you extrapolate this, I think it gives them a different starting point, right? You don't need to, if you go to a movie studio or anywhere, you're drawing all these pictures for storytelling and stuff. Maybe you just develop a model and you own the rights to the model, and the model is going to generate those animations clips for you, right? You don't need to draw everything by hand anymore. So it's a different starting point, but you still get to keep your creativity. So I think it's going to evolve in interesting ways.
perfect. I agree.
Right,
So I think
so
the
next.
next one is a little interesting because this is how non-technical people are building their AI aptitude. These are folks who are taking courses in LinkedIn, a platform, to make sure they're not left behind. Is the best way for me to explain it. So if you look at a project manager, product program general manager is the first section, and then of course there's others that we would suspect: graphic designers, operations manager, all the way to a business consultant, an operations specialist. So all these folks, I think, is becoming more mainstream. That, hey, I think that's a common message is being communicated, right? You're either going to lose your job to AI, or you better start learning these tools so you can keep your jobs and you can flourish in the next 10, 15, 20 years. So you can see that technical people, creative people are the ones who first got impacted. But I can see, I've done a lot of project and program management. I can see where there's value in like repetitive tasks. A lot of my job involved getting task updates from people, updating spreadsheets, sending dashboards out, which is mind-numbing work. But if you can have somebody else take over, that'd be great. But
Yeah, it's very surprising, Rajni. You see all top 4 managerial roles, right? So I think the perspective here is, I think AI is starting to encourage people to deposit more information. So it's kind of going through all of that, creating summaries, creating other meta information